everyone, welcome back to my studying and welcome back to Wheel of Time. Let's read. We are beginning our journey into the Crossroads of Twilight. I guess we're in a home stretch of the series right now, so I'll be covering chapters 1 to 10, and it's quite a lengthy one, especially the prologue. Prologue is quite hefty, might even say the heftiest. So without further ado, let us start with the plot, with the recap, that is. First we have a new major character, at least for me, called Rodel, which sounds like a strudel for some reason for me, but that's beside the point. He is a leader of sorts. His men call him the Wolf, and he has been fighting in Arad-Doman. And he's kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say traumatized by his battles, but he is emboldened by them. And what he does is he takes on a mission to unite Dragonsorn and his forces, and he kind of sets out to fight Shonchan. Even though it's not exactly a very fruitful endeavor, or at least not an easy one, because all of the forces are so stitched together and fanned out, so he has to, just gather them and rally them. We're still in the prologue. Then we have a man called Iman Valda, who is kind of thinking long and hard about his fight and defeat against Shonchan, and then he meets with a man called Radam, who suggests him to move to Murendi, where they need to find an Andoran army who are supposed to be there. At least the rumors indicate that they might be there. And two of them leave their meeting and join the Council of the Anointed to discuss whatever it is that they're discussing. And we're back to Gabriel, who is, if I'm not mistaken, the Aes Sedai who was turned into a warder by Logain. And two of them are riding, and two of them and someone named Tovain. And Gabrielle on her end is still adjusting to the situation she's being put in, because, well, she's an Aes Sedai and she isn't exactly someone who is used to being the obedient one. Usually it's the other way around. She is also a brown sister who don't usually take orders, so as a bonus, I guess, she is trying to assess the situation from the knowledge-seeking, absorbing point. A messenger rides to Logain and informs him that Taim has given him an order to leave the Black Tower and work on recruiting new members. And Gabriel naturally joins him on this recruiting trip. So we are back to White Tower, and one of the sisters, Maidani, is given information about who might be the Black Aja. Maidani is one of the rebellious to Elida, one of the rebels who was forced to swear under the Oath Rod and help hunting Black Aja. And naturally, it's par for the course that the tensions are quite high in the tower, and I guess a few sisters are identified as Black Aja, Galena and Temale, but they're not quite conveniently in the tower at the moment of the reveal. So yeah, that's that. We're back to Gavin of all people, who meets Rajar, or the other way around. The guy Rajar climbs to the spot where Gavin is having a nap, and Gavin is having some regrets about not going back to Camelin, since the winter has started and the travel is much more difficult than it usually is naturally, since the weather is now fixed and the seasons are functioning as they should be, and I guess people are not as used to them. And what else? Oh yeah, Elida is well, not Elida, him. He knows that Elida is not exactly on his side. She wanted to get him killed, him and his forces named the Younglings, which I'll never get over with. It's such a... I know it's before the Star Wars prequels, I'm pretty sure. Is it? But it's just such a silly name. Okay, let me Google. Crossroads of Twilight. I don't want to be a dummy. Crossroads of Twilight. Publication date. Oh, 2003. So it was in the... I stand corrected. It was in the time when the prequels were around. They were just ending, but still. Yeah, it was 2003, Return of the Revenge of the Sith, or whatever. It is a common enough word. I don't think Robert Jordan was an avid, or maybe he was a Star Wars fan, but it's just such a silly word for a for a thing like that. So what Gavin muses about is there's an army that's besieging Tarvalon, and this army logically should be the rebellious Aes Sedai army led by his sister, and he receives another messenger, and Gavin, that is, and he makes a quite not stupendous decision to obey Elida's orders and do her bidding, which, knowing what he knows, and even for him, that's dumb, I think. And he is not a smart character. He's a skilled, capable character, but I don't think he's very intelligent. And I don't see it as an insult. I just see it as an observation. He is aware enough to know the situation he's in, to observe it, and still time and time again make decisions that are against his better interests. I find that fascinating. So we switch to POV to Devram Bashir, and he is in final stages of preparation for the Camelin siege. And he's not happy with the deployment and encampments and the discipline, so they kind of muse about the military tactics with the other... He does, so he muses and discusses military tactics and their position with other leaders. And there's a quote-unquote mysterious man he's meeting with that arrived the day before. I think that's Lugane, right? So, what's next? Finally, some loyal on the screen, pages, whatever, which is a sight for my sore eyes. So Loyal is kind of being kept in the dark about the whole thing, about the greater forces. So he's trying to find out what's going on with Rand, but he's getting a bunch of conflicting rumors. So he notices he talks to Carldin Manfor, a man who I do not remember, but wants to live with him. And I think he's an Ashaman, right? And this guy tells him that he doesn't know what has happened in the palace, but he wishes he find out what happened with the palace and the other Ashaman. Another servant enters the fray and says that the brain has been killed. So they go to her room, and she looks dead, but one of the Ashaman, Samitsu, who's good at healing, actually manages to heal. Yeah, so they heal the brain, they heal him, and they all find out that a party of Aes Sedai and Ashaman have entered the city with Loghain as their leader, which is, logically it's the Ashaman and Black Tower representatives with the captured Aes Sedai they captured previously. So we're back to Matt. And he is frolicking about in the vicinity of Ebudar, and there is quite a chilling description of all of the bodies that's still being fished out of the waters. So the losses were quite large. Either the Wind Sisters, their people, citizens. There are lots and lots of dead on all accounts. And Matt is still injured. He still has some troubles with his hip that he hurt, and walking isn't as great. So, but since he still needs to pretend that he is Eghanin's lover, since they're still using that as a front, they go hand in hand to visit Luca's circus. And there we see a detail that I missed previously, where Eghanin is technically a member of a lower, not sect, lower caste, lower blood. So she has a part of her part of her head shaved to indicate that, and she hides it. So Matt reminisces about the daring and desperate escape from Ebudar, and the dice are starting to roll in his head, and the battle starts in the city, and he doesn't know why. So he's also concerned, if that's the word, about Tuon, because no one is searching for her. And even though he's concerned for her, he just decides maybe it's time to just escape from Ebudar completely. But he returns to Valan Luca's show, which is a big deal in the world of Wheel of Time, I guess. And there are a bunch of Shanshan that are questioning Luca inside. So Matt is being cautious, but Eghanin, who is kind of still in the guise of his lover, is trying to lead the charge. And Matt is not taking that well, because he has a plan to take them out of the city, and she is, just making it more difficult. So Eghanin observes that she recognizes one of the Shanshan that are questioning Luca. but she doesn't say who he is. And I guess that's it. They meet Julian, and he tells him that he also plans to leave, and while he is trying to put his plans into motion, the dice are starting to roll in his head again. This time I guess it's about who is in charge between him and Eganen. And he just doesn't even entertain the thought that she could be in charge. He just tells her my way or the highway and go and see Tuon. They find Tuon, who calls Matt Toy for some reason. But she's also not very happy about the situation because, again, as a front, she needs to pretend that she's a servant. So he promises to her that he's gonna take her back, but he first needs to make sure that everyone is happy and safe. And to achieve that, it's better to lay low and pretend that you're a servant, because that way no one's gonna pay attention to you. And also, Matt, as a womanizer, you would think he knows better, but he does ask Tuon her age. That doesn't go that well. So they chat, two of them, and she asks him something surprising, which is, does he remember Arthur Hawkins' face? Which of course he does. He denies it, but it kind of shows on his face. They make a pact of sorts. She promises him not to escape or betray him, and he does the disgusting thing of spitting on his hand to seal the bargain. And she asks about his spear, the writings on his spear, and conveniently the writings on his spear kind of may be seen as a confirmation, a seal of agreement being made. Thus is our treaty written, thus is agreement made. So they seal their agreement, and the dice no longer rolls in his head, and that's that. Matt in the end finds out that Tywin has been killed. Which not great, right? Just a lot of politicking in the Lady Surot's court happens, which I could go into. It's super dense, so maybe I'll go into it more details when I review the whole book, because there is quite a bit of it. It cannot be overstated how big the prologue is. And let's pivot back to Perrin and his mission to find Fael. So he is searching for Fael, and he's being held by two Ashaman. So they make two gateways. Not two gateways. They make gateways to close the distance between them and the Shaido, who are they pursuing. So Perrin is naturally still quite pissed, and he is trying to figure out how to take her back. And the others are in the camp are naturally trying to get back Queen Aliandre, because they are prioritizing that because it's their ruler. That's quite natural. Perrin tries to connect to the wolves in the vicinity, but he doesn't find any, which is odd. He manages to reach a pack that's super far away. Whoa. he manages to find a pack of wolves that are super far away, but they give him something cryptic, saying that the last hunt is approaching, which is, I guess, the wolf name for the last battle. And we explicitly find out that there have been 22 days since she has been kidnapped, so that has been the passage of times. They went into wrong directions many times because they don't have much trails, but there's also Massima to be dealt. So Massima, his parents, scouts inform him that Massima is sending riders toward Amadisia for some reason, and he doesn't know why, which is also another piece of the puzzle. One of the assumptions is by parent scouts is that Massima is in contact with white cloaks of all groups. You'd think that their kind of views on the world are the polar opposites, but apparently not. So there's that. And Perrin finally gets some news about the position of Shido, but as he is riding to meet the scouts, he smells the sulfuric smell of dark hounds. So he sends Aram to warm the camp, and while they're riding towards the camp, they find that there has been a large pack, and Berelain and the Wise Ones meets them, and he doesn't like Berelain all that much, since she is not denying the rumors that they've slept together, even though they didn't. And Perrin continues to track the Dark Hounds, and he's been helped with the power users who channel and utilize one power to track it. And they are being met with Massima with a large group of his men, which is puzzling as well. So there's that. They track all of it up until to the well, not no. Let me start again. So Elias finds the potential position of Shido. So they all of them go and find the position, and make plans to do that. And we're back to Fail, who is not faring well because her escape attempts are thwarted, but she does gain some allies in the camp. So there's that. Some more scheming with Terava and Savannah, because well, that's what they do. Because Galina betrays Fail and reveals the knife to Savannah, and Fail is having some harsh times because she's uncovered, and this guy Roland is kind of hitting on her, and I don't know what's going on with that. And I think the last bit of this 10 chapters is Elaine, who is doing some recruitments in the nobles, and she's doing recruitment for Camelin, a siege. And Avienda has a vision, using her rings that she got, Terangrial rings, which she got all the way back in Roidion, where those rings give her potential futures. So she warns Elaine that there could be a disaster looming. Because Elaine wants to go to Rand, and Avienda warns that she shouldn't probably go unannounced. So there's that. 2 questions, and I don't have many questions, just a few, but I think they're significant. First question is, and I'm pretty much all but confirmed it myself, but this is chronologically not moving forward. The novel, Crossroads of Twilight, is not moving forward with the plot, but rather it's parallel to the previous book, because I don't get the feeling that the cleansing has appeared yet. It has not yet occurred, so it is not making ripples on the fabric of their society or whatever yet. My next question is, so is this the first time Avienda's Terra Grial has been relevant in any sort? Because I frankly completely forgot that everyone who was in who went through the city, through the Forbidden City, Rhuidean, right, received something. Rand got his, dragon tattoos. Matt, well, he didn't go through that, but he got his spear. And Avienda has received those rings. And my question is, first, yes, is this the first time the rings are relevant? And my second question is about the utility of them. Could they be used in parallel with Min's ability, for example? Could Min amplify them? Because Min sees possible futures, and she sees possible choices, and maybe if they connect those two, they can draw like a line on what is the starting point and what is the ending point. If we make this choice, what kind of future are we going to see? Just food for thought. And I believe there was been an offhand mention of Elaine's pregnancy, so I wonder how would that affect everything. It's a major thing. I don't think that time is moving that fast in the books, so she might as well stay pregnant until, I don't know, the last book. But I do wonder how will that affect everything. Next, let's move on to what I liked. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I liked Gavin. But I'm liking him here because I'm finally understanding what his character is. I don't remember if I realized this sooner, but essentially Gavin is this knight in the shining armor who is good at everything. And in any other series, traditional series, he would have been the protagonist. The guy who saves everything. But here, Gavin is the guy who thinks he's the protagonist, who thinks he is owed this and that, who is of noble birth, who is promised for great things. But he's an idiot. And he is an idiot who can screw things up badly for other people. And I find that fascinating. There's some sort of meta commentary on such cliche fantasy characters that Robert Jordan is doing here, and I find that entertaining. And secondly, I do like Rodell. I do have this not fear, but misgivings about introducing yet another critically important character to the plot 10 books in, but he is an interesting enough figure. I can already tell that he's going to be important, so it will be interesting to see who he sides with. Will he be faced with betrayal by dark friends or whatever else, and how will he interact with the forces that be? And let's move on to things that I didn't like. deep breath. Repeat after me. Prologue's purpose is to foreshadow future events or to set up a tone for the book. You do not use it as an excuse to glue 3 or 4 chapters together. You don't do that. The prologue here was probably the worst of all books so far because it's needlessly convoluted. It's maybe not convoluted is the right word. Maybe too dense is a better word. I'm not sure even if it's one of those instances where it's better on a reread. Because I really think the prologue would have benefited if it were integrated, broken down into the book itself. There are so many POVs, so many characters, so many movements, political and physical and otherwise. So many moving parts that it's just exhausting to read. And I don't think that's a mark of good storytelling. Which pains me to say because Robert Jordan is a fantastic storyteller. But this is not it. I got the feeling that it's like, I don't know, 10-15%, if not more, of the entire book prologue. That's ridiculous. It's not something that works or should be done. Just because you can do it, don't. Please, editors, work on that. And secondly, I'd also like to see fandom's stance on. Because my personal stance on the relationship between Gabrielle and Logain is that it's bizarre, frankly. It would be eye-rolling, their flirting and everything in any other circumstance, the way it's written. But when you add the squeaky part of power imbalance, it gets extra creepy. I'm sorry, just I don't find the magical Stockholm syndrome situation all that appealing. And I'm not sure if it's meant to come across as disturbing by the author. And yes, I know, author's intent is one, reader's perception is another thing, and I'm just not convinced that Jordan, in this instance, when he was writing their relationship, was seeing it anything else as a cheeky sitcom or even a rom-com setup. I find it icky. I'm sorry. She was bonded against her will, something we saw with Rand, which was very disturbing and very icky, and did receive some of the gravitas of the situation. Not to the extent I would like to, but it was definitely addressed as something that was taboo, something that is in terms of personal violation. So why not here? The Gabrielle, the character, as much as I don't like her because I don't find her interesting, nobody deserves that. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to be, bonded against your will, I think it should be addressed properly. No? What do you guys and gals and others think? I don't know what to say. And let's end this with prediction. It's hard for me to predict anything because this book is so full of plot, but it's moving at glacial speed. So it's difficult for me to predict anything on a macro level. So let's just say that I think that in the future, Elaine's and Rand's child sounds something positive, or like something that might put some wind in his sails. I mean, if the madness is something that's no longer looming in his head, that doesn't mean that he is not emotionally damaged, which he is. Rand went through a lot of trauma, And even with the elimination of the looming insanity of the Saidin, you'd think that he's still deeply, deeply marked by the things he went through. So being a parent might benefit him. So that's my prediction. So that's about it. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you Ethan and Kate for your Patreon support. And see you next time. I'm still at it. After this, I'll probably put up a review of another book, not Wheel of Time, separately. I've finished 2 books recently outside of Wheel of Time, and I'd like to review it. Music is still happening. I was thinking about just remastering a bunch of songs that I did for Wheel of Time, because I have quite a few now, and making one big video as an album of all songs, but just remastered to make them sound nicer. I am a complete amateur with music production and playing, just to warn everyone, so if it's rough, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to express myself musically. And there's that. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time.